Hello, I wanted to make a video next to the calming waters of this fountain, and hopefully it's not too loud. But we're headed into the Lionsgate portal, and I felt called to kind of clarify, talk about some of the energies that we're feeling, because it can be a little bit scary and overwhelming to experience, and also I had an experience myself that I was recently, said that I was being preachy, and it's an interesting, topic to understand. How much are you putting your ideas out there to be, heard, as we all have important information and understandings about, the world at large, and how much are we trying to shove and push them upon other people? Now, I think there's a little bit of both ideas kind of reflecting around, because we want to be able to talk about things we're passionate about, and we want to, transmit information to other people so that they have an opportunity to, experience the positive things that we, as the transmitters are, have experienced or have, been blessed to experience and receive. But, it's important to know that not everybody is available to understand or receive the information, and that some people will be triggered by what you say because it makes them feel like they're inferior, or that they don't know enough, or they're closed off to any kind of new information because it disrupts their whole worldview. And it's okay to experience and understand that kind of interaction, because not everybody's going to be receptive. And the difference between being on a soapbox and preaching is that when you are, talking about certain beliefs or certain things that are happening in the collective consciousness, or that are, being, the energetic flow that is happening, people aren't necessarily obviously going to respond. And those who will respond, or those who are starting to pick up and understand, will, have their certain levels of rejection and acceptance of the information as well. I mean, it's a process of building up to fully understanding things, and not everybody fully will, and not everybody wants to. So I had to reevaluate a lot of, like, where am I coming from? What is this, information that I'm giving? And, as a Sag, we can be a little bit dogmatic, but, I think that as a, studying therapist and healer, body worker, energy worker, my area of expertise is to help others with this information, and my intention is to help people with the information. And so I take that away from the experience of when people give me feedback, because people's feedback isn't necessarily, you can, when somebody says something, I appreciate your feedback, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is, what is happening, what is actually you. And it's more of a projection of what they're feeling upon you, and you are the target of their projection because you are triggering something within someone else. And that's okay, we all get triggered, right? But it's important to really understand those triggers, and to appropriately respond rather than attack others. And we all do it, I've done it. But, there's certain, there's certain levels, I think, of, like, accountability. Like, are we talking to somebody who is close to us, how do we deal with it that way? Are we talking to a stranger? You know, there's really no holds bar a lot of times with people on strangers. Like, we can blame strangers or say nasty things to strangers without, you know, fear of culpability or guilt, because there is no emotional or real, you know, connection with somebody like that, and it can become, you know, just a outlet for, you know, negativity, because, you know, people feel like, oh, well, there's no consequences if I say something to a stranger. However, in the laws of karmic cycling, and, you know, there will be a time when you have a negative experience with somebody else that you will most likely experience that negativity that you put out there. And that is just the law of karma. And everything that, when I, you know, present these, you know, information and the, you know, theories, these are all things that I have learned over time and have experienced over time and questioned over time, because I feel like a healthy dose of skepticism is important. Now, with manifesting, we want to be positive, and we want to, like, you know, manifest, you know, things that, you know, we really desire, but also there is a certain amount of, like, is this a feasible understanding or a dream? And, you know, how can we have the best possible outcome, but also, you know, are we reaching too far? And I think that we can manifest great things, you know, from limited, you know, limited understandings, limited, you know, life paths. I mean, there are people who have gone from rags to riches, and we see it. And so it's important not to discount it, but then there's also limitations to how much and how fast it can happen, you know, and our beliefs about, and, you know, the Lionsgate portal in Leo time with the Leo sun is all about our passions. It's all about our, you know, our desires and our positive energy. And Leo can have two distinct energy types. It's intensity, but it's good and passionate, but then it can also borderline to being controlling and closed off, in a sense where some people are content to think that they know that they're very smart with their limited capacity of what they already know. And I think there's a term, I'm not specifically on the top of my head knowing the term, but it's basically like, I know this breadth of information, so that means I am very, very smart, but not exploring any information outside. And if you try to tell me otherwise, I will think that you're attacking me. And it's that very, like, you know, pushback of, I know everything I need to know, don't tell me anymore. And that's, you know, every sign has a negative, you know, manifestation. There's all types. And yeah, the fire signs tend to be a little bit more expressive and direct, and, you know, action oriented, upfront, blunt, rude, you know, all types of things. So the energies that I have for right now, and if you've been feeling lethargic, if you've been feeling just kind of uncomfortable in your own skin, if you've been feeling like you're not really in one world or another, you are definitely experiencing the feelings of ascension and expansion, and it's all normal. And there is, you know, worry, like, am I going crazy? What is going on? Yeah, but it's important not to get lost or be scared, because that's when we can lose control of ourselves, and there can be some outbursts, and there can be some kind of negative actions and, things happening. Okay, so we're at 10 minutes already, so I'm gonna try to dive into these cards. From the Rumi Oracle deck, we have Enter the Garden of Delights and the Dance of the Divine Feminine, which apparently has a little scrape on the back. And so the Divine Feminine is all about receptivity, and the dance is talking about, when you pull, back, and when you receive, and what do you receive, and, how do you express your nurturing side, and how do you not over give, but not over receive. There's this delicate balance of like the feminine nature of being the creator and the caregiver and the mother, and having the ancient wisdom of femininity, which is about not going and attacking, or not going and outwardly expressing and being, so forward in your actions, but holding back a bit and waiting and observing and seeing what is needed rather than what is in the moment immediately thought of. That's very Mars energy. And then Enter the Garden of Delights. It's about learning how to be more nurturing to your own garden and your own needs and your own beliefs that really give you comfort, and also expanding a little bit beyond your comfort zone and being comfortable in doing so, because you know that you can always think through and decipher things through your consciousness that is either correct for you or not correct for you, but not doing it in a way that is, being obstinate. And there are many ways to react to certain situations, and we have the choice to do whichever, and that doesn't mean we're free of the consequences of that choice. However, when we decide to, something isn't for us, or we don't want to, we don't feel like that is a theory or understanding that we wish to, believe in, and that's our choice. I mean, people believe lots of things, and they choose not to believe lots of things, no matter, depending on science or evidence or stuff like that. It's, personal choice, and that's free will. That's what we have. But the way that we decide to approach those situations, it's really important in a more feminine aspect, since we're calling on the divine feminine right now, and our feminine nature, and nurturing the inner workings of our emotions, and how we can become more emotionally stable instead of reactive to certain things, is being kind and approaching things in a way that is gentle. There's no need to, lash out and be aggressive, because that kind of behavior only begets more aggressive behavior. And we already live in a world where a lot of that is glorified. A lot of this very aggressive, masculine, attacking, bombing, conquering type energy is what we have seen. I mean, in the past, it's wars, it's crusades, it's, hostile takeovers, it's business takeovers. Business is, getting in there, getting it in fast, and destroying, rainforests, drilling for oil, very aggressive, pushing energy, versus the more feminine, receptive energy. And there's a lot of theories with the Native American culture that I am not, super well versed in, but some of it is talking about how there's so much conquering and colonial activism that has been destroying our planet. And, you know, the planet will regenerate and be fine, but it will end up destroying the communities that live upon it. And it is because of this overarching and over-aggressive masculine energy to the point of toxicity that we have been, you know, thinking and experiencing as positive movement forward, when there are other ways to move forward and have like a positive outcome that maybe don't necessarily require that kind of action. So we have two cards. We have the Dream and the Temptress. So we have broken promises and seduction and deceit, and then we have being revealed and breakthroughs. So we are looking to where we have been either self-deceptive or where someone else has been deceptive and manipulating us in a sense, and, you know, projecting and blaming their actions, their responses, their triggers on us, and differentiating where the boundaries lie of who am I and who are you, and what was my intention and what is your intention. And being able to not take on the blame of other people for their actions is a very difficult and important lesson, because I feel like with the feminine energy receiving all of this, you know, blame, you know, there's a lot of blame in the biblical culture. There's a lot of, you know, you must cover up, you must not lead a man into temptation as a woman or a feminine energy. That, I think, whole structure is starting to become a bit more broken down, and we're starting to see where this is not necessarily the fault or you know, what the feminine is doing. The feminine is just trying to be of support and have some kind of protection and power status from the overactive masculine energy. So there's like this balance where it's like they're trying to cling and then they're blaming. And I've seen it in many cycles, many ways, in a lot of relationship dynamics and in society. I mean, it even comes up to this grander idea of, you know, the people, the main, you know, the 99% people of, you know, society need to, you know, cut back on their emissions and recycle, and, you know, these are all great things, but it's like this, you have to do this, you're gonna destroy the planet. And then we have the very 1% uber wealthy people, you know, being very reckless and irresponsible, flying their jets and, you know, making decisions to invade countries and bomb, you know, things and create this massive, you know, waste of like from, you know, explosions and fuel, you know, coming from their jets. This is, you know, oh, that's fine, they can do that because they're, you know, they don't have to be, you know, responsible, but the rest of us, we are the problem, we need to be responsible. And because so much waste is so created by just that small group of people, and this larger group of people are working so hard to do their part, it's the inequality and imbalance of the actors versus the receptors of the information and the rules. So we have Dating Queen and Brunette Female for this other deck, and this is kind of just more of a comical, like, personal deck, and it kind of just gives little, you know, thoughts and processes. And I would say it's more about getting out there and connecting with other people and feeling more comfortable taking it in a light way. Like as women, you know, we can get sucked in, or as feminine energy, we can get sucked into the ideology and the theology of a masculine energy and just kind of full, you know, wholeheartedly have to believe in this person's, you know, ideas about life to be their partner. And I think that the most important thing to remember is that we all have our own ideas. We all have our own understandings about the world. We all experience the world in a different way. And to fully just, you know, have to be on board with somebody's, you know, their ideas about the world and life, just to be with them. I mean, it does help because it's, you know, more difficult to be in a relationship with somebody who has vastly different thoughts than you, but we don't have to all have the same, you know, 100% vision of the world. And by having different visions of the world, we can actually learn some from one another. Now, it won't necessarily always, you know, end up in a true love dating, you know, forever situation. However, you know, there are some friendships and some situations that we connect with people where, you know, there are different operations, different ways to go about the world. So, you know, just remember that, and when you're dating, and remember, you know, like how deep you want to go in certain situations. Like, we can have, you know, more shallow interactions with people, but we can also have more deep discussions with people, and all are very valid. Just, you know, make sure you know where you want to be on that spectrum. Okay, so then we have the bridge, which is about crossing bridges, moving forward. You know, it's very appropriate for the Lionsgate portal. We're kind of shifting from one part of our existence to another. You know, there's definitely a shift in perspective and understanding. And then we have the well, which is about digging deep and really trying to understand where you want to take your life and your passions. So, the cards I pulled, we have the Two of Wands reversed, which is about trying to figure out the direction you want to go. We have the Eight of Pentacles, which is about working hard towards achieving a goal and something that you wish. We have the Hermit card reversed, which is about getting out of your reflection time and your period, and really starting to be more open and outward in maybe more social manner and connecting with people, because we can spend a lot of time really internally reflecting. Not everybody, but a lot of times we, you know, are pulled to be more introverted and introspective about our, you know, world, our life, our behaviors, and reflect. So we have the Fool in reverse, which is about taking that leap of faith into something new. And I feel like there has been a hesitancy with this Two of Wands reversed of where we want to, you know, jump forward and go. And it's important to understand that a certain amount of faith and a certain amount of risk is to be taken to go and pursue things, because we don't always know how they're going to work out. But we can have, you know, kind of an educated understanding of how things, you know, we react to things in the past, from the past experiences, and how to tackle difficult situations or difficult, you know, people or conflict in the future, where we have already kind of seen how it can go with one direction and shift. And, you know, we can't prevent someone from being rude to us. We can't prevent somebody from leaving us. We can't prevent somebody from lying to us. But how we respond to it is how we can control our reaction and our part in the situation. And part of it maybe is not taking something on that isn't us, that isn't ours. You know, not taking the blame, not taking somebody's projection of us, or the society's projection of who we are, and stepping out and being, you know, our unique individual self. I mean, there is pushback, but it is so much more rewarding to feel like you can be authentic in who you are, rather than just take on a role that somebody or society will put upon you. And we have the Six of Pentacles, which is about giving and receiving. balance, reciprocity, and that is, we want that equal balance of give and take, rather than give, this is all you, this is all, or I get all this, I get to be this, this is all me, I am the one who has all the information. Then we have the 10 of Cups, which was when I was like, woo. And we have the 6 of Cups reversed for time's sake. So this is about moving past old ideas and old perceptions and old situations, even in your family, in your emotional sphere, and past traumas and past like hurts and pains and relationship dynamics that you have experienced, that where you were trying to get to the ultimate fulfillment and happiness. It's time to shift how we see what we want, and like realize maybe what we have been pursuing, maybe we have certain standards, maybe we have certain very restrictive lists and desires of what we want out of a situation or person, and start to realize where maybe some of those are false, and maybe we can't have exactly that kind of, or maybe that kind of person isn't what we wanted really, maybe that's not going to give us the desired result. And where have we been lying to ourselves about what we want and how it's going to happen? Because we cannot control really anything but our own perspective and our own emotional state. Sometimes we can't even control our emotional state. However, we can really address our thought processes and patterns, and pull back and stop, and not let the traditional tried and true pattern of when we get angry, when we get sad, when we get frustrated, or when we experience a struggle or a problem. How do we flip it? How do we go about it in a different way? And that's the same with our goals and our dreams. Are we achieving what we really need? How can we go about it in a different way that's going to get us better results even? How are we going to address something so that maybe we thought we wanted something in a certain way, and when we get it, it's actually not what we wanted? So how do we adjust our perspective in that sense as well? And with that, I wish you lots of luck in manifesting. And again, this is all just perspective. This is not a, idea of how you should live. This is not, the best and only way. It is a channeled message from my perspective, my cards, my guides, and the understanding that I have about energy work and how the universal flow of energies are, according to, science of planet synastry, unseen energetic forces from physical, matter physics, and the observations that I have seen in the 35 years that I have been alive and studying human dynamics in my own life. All right, take care.